You know, Bill Murray could be playing golf. Instead, he's running the town of Cumberland. I was going to come up with something. I was going to come up with something else there, but Laura's figuring, listen, I'm not waiting for the chubby guy. If he can't come up with another line, boom. Anyway, how are you? It is great to have you into my state of mind. I love doing this show. It's freelancing the way we like it. But yeah, Bill Murray could be doing anything. He's a successful guy, got a wonderful family, he's got his health, and what's he doing? He's running the town of Cumberland in his retired golden years. And he's already assembling, the money to be able to run again. So we'll ask him, what's he doing? No, why is he giving back to the community? Why is he leading, and how is he doing with the other mayors as this mezzanine form of government seems to be really well established in Rhode Island right now? I am Dan York. By the way, he's my guest tonight. I am Dan York, and it is a pleasure to have you aboard. Thank you very much for watching on MyRI TV, 7:30 and 11:30 weeknights. Now, of course, on Fox Providence as well at midnight each weeknight. Or formally, that would be each morning, but we still think it's nighttime, don't we? You night owls? Let's go to the rundown. Lots of things happening today, so let's cover some of these things before we meet the mayor of Cumberland this evening. Yeah, so we got an Iran deal. The Washington Post has got a headline here, and everybody was reacting. Let me go to CBS because they've got the outline of what's going on with this.
The U.S. and other world powers struck a historic agreement to curb Iran's nuclear program.
This deal demonstrates that American diplomacy can bring about real and meaningful change. Change that makes our country and the world safer and more secure.
Under the deal, Iran will have to reduce its stockpile of enriched uranium by 98%, cut the number of nuclear centrifuges by 2/3, and allow inspectors into the country to verify it is following the accord. In return, the U.S. and UN will lift economic sanctions and allow Iran to begin selling its oil on the world markets. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani praised the deal and said his country never intended to produce nuclear weapons. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu strongly disagrees.
In a decade, this deal will give an unreformed, unrepentant, and far richer terrorist regime the capacity to produce many nuclear bombs. What a stunning, historic mistake.
Yes, the Prime Minister of Israel spares no commentary ever, right? The president said today, this is not about trusting Iran, it's about verification for Iran. And I'll tell you, on the back end of this 10-year deal, armament-wise, it gets a little loose for Iran. It's $100 billion of economic blowback for Iran. In other words, that's the pace that they're going to pick up with everything that's in this deal. You know, the young people in Iran have been suffocated by the kind of sanctioned economic environment they have there. One would have hoped that they would have turned on this government, overthrown it, and changed the world. But that hasn't happened yet. Now this strategy is all about making them feel better and wanting to stay better, I guess. One thing that's not changing, the rhetoric coming from Iran. There's nothing in the agreement that says death to Israel and death to America, the great Satan, can't be articulated anymore. It's a day-to-day thing. 10 years is still a day-to-day thing. All right, coming to America, and specifically New England, and specifically my old stomping grounds in Western Massachusetts, the FBI foils this plot. Headline from the Boston Globe. Yeah, this is incredible, and Eyewitness News has, I think, a pretty poignant story here.
Federal authorities say this man, 23-year-old Alexander Ciccolo of Adams, Massachusetts, plotted to commit terrorist attacks in support of ISIS. Through court documents, the Terrorism Task Force first learned of Ciccolo's desire to fight overseas for ISIS on September 11th of 2014. On June 30th of 2015, in an arranged meeting by the FBI, a cooperating witness met with Ciccolo, who revealed he wanted to attack a university no later than July 31st. On July 3rd, authorities collected surveillance video of Ciccolo purchasing a pressure cooker at a North Adams Walmart. The next day, Ciccolo received 4 firearms from the cooperating witness. As he began walking toward his apartment, he was arrested immediately. Because of a drunk driving conviction, Ciccolo is not allowed to carry a gun. Sources tell CBS News Ciccolo's father, Boston Police Captain Robert Ciccolo, reported his son to the FBI after noticing a serious change in his behavior.
That's pretty gutsy. I think pretty patriotic by Dad, don't you think? So kudos to him would be an understatement. That's a heroic effort on his part. Had to be gut-wrenching. You know, these foiled plots get a day's worth of attention. The successful ones, a whole lot more. So, what blew the lady 5-6 feet in the air this past Saturday? We're still trying to figure out what happened at the Salty Brine Beach. And the headline here talks about the idea that National Grid had a cable there. But we found out today that that cable was de-energized in 2007, so that probably didn't blow the lady up and cause the stir from the sand to the water. Well, the Department of Environmental Management had a press conference today at 3 o'clock, and based on our press time reports, because we record this program each afternoon in the late afternoon, the unofficial word is that the DEM still has no idea why it happened. This might be the great mystery, Rhode Island's greatest mystery. You all right, Laura? Sure. How could they not know how to? Okay, we'll just hold our breath, not. They're protesting in Providence, so about 50 people showed up while the Paw Sox are trying to have another walkthrough. Can you visualize the ballpark exercise down on the 195 land? And Mr. Steinberg, Dr. Steinberg, who's doing the PR these days for the new ownership of the Paw Sox, got very deep about what this whole thing means.
Baseball triggers a lot of emotions in people, and we understand that, respect that, and appreciate that, and allow that to foster conversation, allow that to trigger ideas, allow that to spawn some imaginings of what a new ballpark environment might feel like when it's connected to a downtown of the state's largest city.
We don't need poetry. We need to know what the new financial deal is. The listening tour, running around the state, folly. Just tell us what you're willing to do, how much or how little taxpayer money you're going to be asking for, and this thing will kind of take care of itself. Simple. Remember the whoosh of the snowy winter? Just looking at that picture is enough to freak you out. Probably freaks Bill Murray out too. I wonder how his snow budget reconciled this past winter. But they dumped it in Southie, trying to make some room. They didn't dump it in the ocean, and everybody's pretty happy. Watch this.
We found that baby stroller someone left out before the storm. Scratch ticket? Who knows what's in this bag? Part of a bike? How about the laundry basket someone likely used to mark a parking spot? It's a close-up view of Boston's trashy underside, nicely covered all winter long under a white blanket as clean as the driven snow. Driven by the ton in trucks to this South Boston lot known as the Snow Farm.
Because we knew there was going to be a lot of trash under that snow, because what happened was we had the first blizzard, if everyone remembers, we want to talk about it. We had the first blizzard, then right after we get the second blizzard, so every weekend we were getting more snow on top of snow.
It may be the best argument yet for not throwing snow we now know was embedded with hubcaps into the Boston Harbor. The state did clear snow-buried cities and towns to dump it in the water due to emergency conditions, but Boston chose not to. Instead, a 20-foot mountain now reduced to a trashy glacier, dripping, even steaming under the hot July sun. Clean water advocates say better than melting into here.
Yeah, exactly. So when we have another snow winter, we can't have another winter like that. We're not going to have another winter like that. Don't be talking about dumping the snow in the water, because look at all that junk. That report was actually filed last week. There was kind of a projection thing on social media. When do you think the final melt will occur? Well, it was today. The last of that gunky, dirty, filthy ice was gone today. People are piggies. Yes, they are. Let us know what you think. Your state of mind, 228-1886. Email me, Facebook post, tweet, whatever you got to do. We got a couple of posts here on the Facebook page, which seems to be a popular way of communicating. Fireworks that didn't go off initially. Perhaps someone smoking a cigarette, flicking ashes, or a lit match may have set it off. I don't think so, Barb. They're not, no. She's talking about Salty Brine Beach. Jonathan, a can of spray paint or some type of spray that may have heated up and blew. No, Jonathan, it ain't that either. DEM doesn't know, and they may never know. I don't know. Call me, leave a message, put a Facebook post up, something. What do we call this debacle? The great unknown of the Salty Brine Beach. There's got to be a tighter way to say it. We'll come back and meet the mayor of Cumberland. Stay with us. Actually, the mayor of Cumberland and I were just talking about our golf games. Mine's getting better. He don't have one because he decided to run for mayor. And he's part of this crowd here of mayors that gathered the other day. You see Bill Murray there on the left next to Don Grevian from Pawtucket, all kind of listening to the lieutenant governor, talking about some fire legislation that was worrying a lot of municipal leaders. That is for sure. Bill Murray, my mayor, good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
I said at the top of the show, you could be doing anything. You got your health, you got a beautiful family, you got plenty of time on your hands. You're a successful businessman, retired, you ran for council. That wasn't good enough, and now you're doing this thing, running a town, which I bet you, even though you had an idea, is even more work than you expected.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Dan McKee led me to believe this was a pushover. And it's far from it. As once I get in that seat, and I was warned, once I get in that seat,
well, who warned
it's like
you? McKee said it was a pushover?
No, he didn't. Actually, Barbara Goodrich, his assistant.
She said it's a lot more difficult.
She said, "Wait till you get in the seat," and she was right.
Yeah.
I hit 11 storms after the second day, and it's all history now. But
were you traumatized by some of that Boston video that we were just showing there?
When we were just talking about it, and I said, yeah, we had the same problem. We didn't know what to do with the snow. And in Cumberland, because of the way the roads are constructed, we had like one road, Tower Hill Road, that we had no place to put it. And they're screaming about getting buses up there. We couldn't get buses up there. So I said, show me why we can't get buses after a number of residents had asked. They showed me once a bus got up there and car coming the other way, nobody could move. The bus can't turn around.
I mean, gosh, can you imagine if we have another one? How'd you do budget-wise, by the way, from all that stuff?
We're probably one of the best in the state. I have a great highway foreman, Frankie Stoic, who has been in that job for years, and we were probably about 40% over where everybody else was, like 100% or more, and we had the money reserved, which goes back to the McKee administration because I inherited that.
So let's talk about a little bit the interesting transition. You've always been kind of in Dan's camp. You're your own man. You have a very different style. There's no doubt about that. But as he moved the lieutenant governor's seat in a hard-fought election statewide, he had been networking with a lot of the mayors, and that mayoral form of government had been rising to a level of real importance, I think, in the state. And now that he's kind of gotten a nod from Governor Raimondo to keep that work moving, you, mayors and town administrator types and all of that have now formed a pretty close-knit mezzanine level of government, correct?
Absolutely. And I guess one of the best statements is after the lieutenant governor made a great decision to have the lieutenant governor as the liaison to the mayors. Mayor Policino made the best remarks I've heard. He said, we've always been in the parking lot, but we're now in the building. And that was proven by this through this fire legislation, and it proved out. Everybody rallied. I testified not as much for the fire, but as far as having the rights of the mayors and town administrators taken away from us. That was my fight.
Well, we should explain what that is about. By the way,
Sure.
Joe Policino, the mayor of Johnston, who's appeared on the program a couple of times. The troubles in Providence with the move from 4 platoons to 3 platoons caused the firefighter union to kind of fight back.
Correct.
But prior to that, what happened in North Kingstown when they got a Supreme Court decision that rendered it constitutional to move from 4 platoons to 3 platoons caused one bit of legislation. The second, though, was the one you were worried about mostly, I think, which is that it would mandate that kind of move would have to be done through collective bargaining. It would not be a management right. A lot of you guys are Democrats. you know, that run towns. Yeah, that's the rumor. But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to running municipal governments, there's not a lot of political ideology. It's fiscal decision-making that you have to make, and that's why you all kind of consolidated, right?
Well, we had no choice, because it meant a lot. We would have been handcuffed, no question about it, on anything that we came down, because it could have been challenged. And that ruling, if it went through, would have been kind of the trademark to what we would have to face. And it would have put us in a very difficult position. So it was very important that we won that fight, you know, that we had to, really.
What's your long view? What's your 36,000-foot view of where mayoralty in Rhode Island is, and what kind of role it will play moving into the future?
Well, looking at it as obviously a mayor that's only been there for 6 months, I really see it as probably the first time I've looked at it as such an important thing, because if we are going to do well in our communities, a strong mayor has to run the community and be fiscal responsible. You got taxes. There's so many issues, and I didn't realize it until I got into the seat, is that every day I tell the best story is I come in and I'm a very well-prepared person. By 8:30 I know what I want to do. I have everything outlined, and I talk to my chief of staff, George Stansfield, and Heather, my assistant, and everybody's on board. At 9 o'clock it all blows up, because something's always hitting you. And if you don't have that strong leadership, both as a mayor and a town administrator, you're going to have a problem in the towns. I can see it coming from the business world. It's so important. And
well, it's always been important when it comes to running in silos, meaning in your own town and corporation, no doubt. But I'm asking about the entire level of that government has really had an impact on the General Assembly, on the governor, on policy, on a whole bunch of things.
Isn't the old story, if you have the master degree, isn't the power in that? And that's what this is. It's, you get people together. It's not one person speaking. If I, as a mayor of Cumberland, came down to the State House, I'm not sure they'd give me that much time. But if I come down there with 8, 9, 15 mayors, and again, that's what happened on this issue of the fire. I think we had about 20 on board out of all the towns. And isn't that a bigger body to come and voice their opinion?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt that it's a significant block. When we come back, we'll talk about fire, because Cumberland's done this very weird hybrid of consolidation that I'm not sure is working. Maybe it is. I don't know. And then they're trying to figure out, how hard is it to find out where you want to put your police stations? Think of it. All right, speaking of fire departments, and like Bill Murray is the mayor of Cumberland here, a glutton for punishment could have been relaxing in retirement. Instead, not only ran, but you're going to run again, aren't you?
Absolutely. Keeps me young.
It's not helping your golf game,
and
brother.
my marriage is staying together, because now we're married 51 years. We'll be 52 years shortly. Yep.
Because you're out of the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think self-preservation takes on a whole bunch of different modes.
But now I'm driving everybody crazy at Town Hall.
That's what I hear.
Oh,
but you started it. I didn't.
Okay.
Anyway, the idea of give me the 90-second version on what's going on with the consolidation of fire, because we've in Cumberland had this ridiculously archaic system of different fire departments. Fire districts.
We had 4 districts, all independently run. We had 4 chiefs, et cetera, and we worked very hard to the consolidation under Mayor McKee as to this was the best thing for the town. The townspeople endorsed it by quite a margin, and we moved forward to get the legislation passed. So we were on target. The problem is, as it developed, it hasn't really gone the right direction. Not saying it's not in a good direction, but there are some problems, and
what's the key
but
problem?
It takes time. Well, a big problem is to figure out where all the bombs are placed in different districts. They haven't even finished an audit report, which is needed badly, of all the individual districts.
Consolidation's supposed to be more efficient, save money, be more productive. You're a business guy. That's the concept. Why is it so hard in government to get that done?
Well, that's a great question, and that's where they have to be, because it just it took time. Remember, the town's people voted on who was going to be on that board, so it's there. Let me make it clear: the fire is not under us
Right.
as
It's
a town.
own separate
It's
thing
separate
still.
with 7 people, like the town council.
So you almost, just so
Right.
everybody knows,
Sure.
so you consolidated 4 into 1. I just wanted to go under the mayor like any normal town in America,
Right.
but
Right.
that didn't happen.
It didn't happen, and who knows down the road whether it goes in a municipality. One of the reasons it wasn't going to go that way at the beginning was that, and I know Mayor McKee, this was a big thing, and it was with me, is that we had firefighters. If you go to a municipality, a lot of our firefighters are local firefighters. If it goes to a municipality, you have to open up the doors to everybody. So that created a problem. But we were hoping that this consolidation, they still have to, and they right now have a fact-finding board that is checking out whether to go to a different platoon system like they did in North Kingstown. I've said right from the beginning, I think we have to look, which the Jacobs report, which was a report that was done under Mayor McKee, that should be looked at, where we would go to 3 stations rather than 4.
Okay, so you've got a lot of logistics to work
Right.
out, so we'll have you come back and talk about some of these issues when we've got some more time. But
Okay.
you're trying to site a new safety complex. The old one is old.
Absolutely.
Why is it so hard? The group that came together disbanded. They said, all right, Mayor, here's your 4. Good luck, right?
Right.
Menden Road, Cumberland House of Pizza. Why
Right.
would you put it there?
Well,
You're not going to put it
we
there.
don't want to, no.
No, the monastery land, which seems
Right.
to be the best land,
On
but
a,
you've got all the
Right.
the salamander people who say there's a problem
well,
there.
that's the problem. When you have a very loud minority, they take over, and that's unfortunately what happened. They took over, and now it's kind of boxed me. I'm meeting with the Attorney General's office to get a better ruling on the easement. The easement is the biggest problem. Then we can make a decision. I just had a meeting today to discuss alternate plans, and we have to, because I'm bound and determined that we're going to build a police station and we're going to have a rescue house. Whether we have them together or separate, that's now under.
But you'd like to
different-
have them together, and you'd like to have them
Absolutely.
in a strategically centered place
Absolutely.
for public safety.
But for the town, and you're a taxpayer, for the town, I've got to do the best thing. People say, go out and buy this land, do that. No matter what you buy, you're going to pay $300,000 to $500,000, maybe $1 million for the right property. That comes off the $12.5 million that we have to build the building.
That was authorized
So,
by the taxpayers.
It's been authorized by the taxpayers. So I got to do, and I will do, the most physical, smart thing for the town, so I don't create a problem with the tax. That's my biggest challenge.
Bottom line, in the first 6 months, are you enjoying it?
I'm having a great time, frustrating at some points. I'd be lying if I didn't say that. But I got a great staff that works for the town. I came in with service. You as a taxpayer is the #1 customer, and we're doing well. We changed a few things like the IT, the computers,
All
the
that.
phones, everything.
All right, good to see you. Come back.
Thank you. Thanks
Play
for
some
having
golf.
me.
It's summertime, for crying out loud.
Okay.
Relax.
Thanks again.
Stay out of the house, though.
Yeah, that's-
One more thing. Stay with us. Everything in life changes, even the home run derby last night, huh? They were on the clock to hit the home runs this time around, and the Reds' Todd Frazier ended up winning. All-Star game tonight marks the middle of the season. Good stuff. It ain't winter. Thank you very much. Coach LaForce of the URI women's basketball program here tomorrow night on My State of Mind. See you on WPRO at noon.